delivering software is really challenging and tough, isn't it? And it seems like it becomes kind of an unwritten rule that a little bit of delay and setback is expected. If your team delivers on time, it's a rare event. And if for any reason your team can deliver ahead of a schedule, even for 2 weeks, it's going to be a great win for your team, and everyone will appreciate and recognize it. That's exactly what I want to tell you about my team and the story that it happened to my team. And I want to share that story with you. Just a little bit of context. Atlassian, probably you know all the products like Confluence, Jira, Trello, and other products. We decided to move and migrate all the customers' data from data center to the cloud. It was an ambitious goal, set the time for 6 months, and it involves many teams, including my team, which is called Micros. Micros is a platform as a service, and I'm the senior engineering manager for this platform team. So in Micros, we provide some capabilities for developers. All the Atlassian engineers use the capabilities to deploy and operate their services to the cloud, AWS. As part of this project, what we had to do was creating 7 new regions in different countries, like Swiss, Canada, Japan, and many more. Also, we had to change the whole structure and the architectural design of the platform because we had more than thousands of services, microservices, using the platform. And we always hit the rate limiting of AWS. Even sometimes, AWS support team had struggled to help us with this problem. So we had to change this architectural design and make sure that we distributed the load for microservices into different AWS accounts. We call it AWS account sharding. To me, that was a really complex project. And if you ask why, probably these are the factors that all of them are checked for my team. Technical challenges. As I mentioned, it's really complex, and it's a rare scenario. It's a unique problem. Not many companies work at that scale, and not many companies have this, sort of problems. So we actually didn't know what exactly the solution is. Also, there are people problems. We didn't have many experts because it's hard to find platform engineers in the market, so we didn't have too many. At the same time, dependency between different teams. As I mentioned, we have a lot of different teams involved in this project. Other than that, legacy code and all the tech debts that we accumulated over the years, and we had to pay the tax for them. All those reasons made the project really complex. Before I joined Atlassian, I used to be a tech lead, and I used to deliver projects. And I actually always use Atlassian products, Atlassian websites, trainings, and I felt that's a great way of delivering projects. When I joined Atlassian, I was quite comfortable that all my team probably know that, and everyone in Atlassian are quite comfortable because that's the product we build. So I walked my engineers through the project, and I talked about what we are actually going to deliver. And I expected to be quite a smooth and happy team. I was wrong. This timeline and the complexity sent a massive shockwave to my team. Everyone were quite stressed, and these are the words that I keep hearing from my team. I'm stressed. I can't really focus, and I'm pressed by the stakeholders. Project managers were also pressing me. They keep asking me, the project feels never-ending. Looks like the scope of project is keep creeping. What's happening? What are your team doing? So I was in between, pressing by the dev team and the engineer, like the product managers and the stakeholders. And everyone around me shouting that we are not ready. Before I go further, I would like to take a pause and take a moment here and ask you, kindly please scan this QR code and join me on the slides, because I want to ask you a question. If you have your phone ready, please just scan this QR code. So the question for you is, if you were in this situation and you were a leader of this team, what would you have been doing to manage your team, to unblock them and resolve this issue? Just type your answers for me. Great. Cool. I can't see all these details on the screen, but seems like you have a lot of solutions available. So, just like you, I actually I was reflecting and thinking about 3 main solutions that I have to quickly apply to my team because we didn't have much time. First of all, ownership and accountability. The second one is process, practices, reviewing all of them. And the third one, is the team healthy? I'll go through 3 of them quickly. The ownership and accountability is something that we expect everyone, all the engineers in the team, to be responsible, committed, and thinking about the outcome. But is it more of people problem or process problem? We potentially expect people to solve this problem, but actually, in my opinion, it's more process problem. And I tell you why. First of all, to make sure that the team is accountable, leaders should make sure that everyone are aligned. If the leaders are not communicating their visions, their goals, problems, and objectives to the team, how would they expect the team to be accountable and take the ownership? The ownership of what? So first of all, this is the responsibility of leaders to make sure that they're clear with the expectations and goals of the team. The second thing is, if we expect people to be taking the ownership, we need to treat them like an owner. And this is exactly the problem that we had in the team. The business and the stakeholders, they are great. They just investigated. They realized that this project, which we call it DARE, data residency, this is going to be amazing. This is going to add a lot of value and revenue for Atlassian. But none of the engineers actually know about the details and how important it is. So we didn't actually walk them through the the challenge and bring them to the same mindset. Obviously, they didn't have the sense of ownership. What we did to fix this problem first was going through the product delivery cycle and making sure that after the wonder phase, which stakeholders is going to understand what is the value of the product, what is the value of this project, then we actually communicated with the team. And we call this phase a kickoff phase. If you haven't done the kickoff, probably it's an interesting topic for you to think about it. We get everyone in one room, stakeholders, engineers, leaders, and we made sure that everyone are clear about what we are going to solve, what is the issue, what is the value, what is the impact on the business, what kind of business OKR we are going to deliver, and if we don't do that, how business would lose some money or revenue or customer value. So we make sure that everyone are clear on these problems and making sure that they actually feel that they should be owner of this problem. Once we have done that, in my leadership experience, the main important thing that people actually conflict is the lack of clarity and roles and responsibilities. In many cases, I think that this is your responsibility, and you think that, no, this is mine. So nobody actually going to take care of the tasks and the problems. What we did is actually running a roles and responsibility play. We get everyone again in the room, half a day. It was a workshop. Everyone went on the board, put the sticker notes on the board, and make sure that they write down what they think they are expected to do as part of their role. So we defined different roles, and everyone put the stickers to say, what should I do as part of this role? Once everyone finished that part, then we did the same exercise, but for the other roles. Like, I would go on the board and write down what I think other people should do as part of this project. The outcome of this exercise was we actually figured out a few activities that no one covered, no one think that they should do it, and we found some activities that people overlap, which means they could have stepped on each other's toes, or they could double the effort, basically, like two people take care of same activity. So we clarified everything, roles and responsibility, documented, and everyone are clear on what they should do. The next thing was communication. While it's an important part of the project delivery, we usually ignore that part, and we having less focus on this problem. Instead of me talking about it, I would like to play a little video, 1 minute. So it's a conversation between PM and developers. See if that feels familiar for you.
Hi, we need a timeline for this project.
It's complex and depending on so many factors.
Okay, but as I said, I still need a timeline.
Okay, my gut feeling says soon.
Gut feeling? Seriously?
Okay, 2 months or maybe 6 months. Yeah, 6 months.
Come on, I just need a timeline, please.
It's software, a mystery, an art.
Does it look familiar? So, we want to have the communication over estimation. I know many developers don't like estimation, but you know why? We have to have the estimation because we don't communicate properly. And the business and the stakeholders are really concerned about the project delivery and keep asking us for estimation. But if we emphasize on communication, probably estimation can be second priority for the business. When I was flying from Sydney to Zagreb, our flight was delayed for unknown reason, for unknown timeline. And everyone could have been annoyed. But the way that captain communicated the progress with the passengers was actually truly amazing. He was keep communicating the progress, and one interesting, hilarious update was, dear passengers, currently we don't have any update. And that was his update. And it was interesting for me to see, even if we don't know what is the delivery time, what is the, next step that we want to take, probably we should communicate it with the business as well. So in my team, we decided to actually align on some communication style, communication channels, and communication tools, which I'm going to talk about that with you. We decided, all of us, to use Atlas. Not sure if you heard the name or the product. If you search for communication tools, project communication tools, you can find many. This is one of them. So with the Atlas, we basically create a ticket for each project, and we describe what we are going to do as part of this project. What is the success looking like? What is the, why we are doing this? What are we going to do as part of this project? So we document all of them, and we identify who is going to help with this project. So we mention and add the names of all the team members. Then we are going to kind of track the backlog of the work. Like, this project is going to be tracked by Jira backlog, and everyone can see the progress of the Jira backlog. Then we are going to having the weekly update. Every Friday afternoon, engineers or the person who has the role of delivery, they go and update this ticket. It's kind of a stand-up, but for a whole week. They talk about the progress, blockers, and the next step. On Monday morning, all the stakeholders get all these reports up to the leadership, and they can see the progress, the risk, and delivery state of all the projects which are happening at the same time. This way, we agreed to, cut the pressure from the business. Nobody actually came to my developer team and say, "How are you doing?" Everyone agreed that we can use this tool to track the work. So they didn't make my team nervous, they didn't overwhelm my team, and they have enough communication as they expected. Obviously, we had more catch-ups, like weekly syncs, or some kind of offline communications, but that is our main source of truth. The second thing that I want to talk about is the practices and the process. As I mentioned, there are so many processes that we can set up for the team to guide engineers, have a structured way of delivery, but we usually don't want to spend time on that. We actually think that it's better to jump off to implementation other than fixing our practices. I'm the big believer of small refinements. You probably don't need to go and change the whole process of your team. And I assume most of the teams have at least agile process. Do you? Working on agile? OK. So my team was also working with agile, obviously, but it wasn't a true agile. And I tried to figure out what kind of small refinements can we do to make it more effective and more proper way of delivery. And I share those small refinements with you. Maybe it's inspired you to do the same. OK. My first refinement, are we actually using the agile triangle? And I assume many of us don't. What is agile triangle? So basically, when a project starts, we have some constant elements and some variable elements. Majority of the time, constant element is time. And the rest of the pillars, like people and the scope, are quite flexible. The problem is, engineers want to negotiate on the time, which is a mistake. We actually spend a lot of time, few weeks, to talk and negotiate on time. And it was a waste of time, because it was already part of the public roadmap. Business didn't really want to change the time. So don't waste your time. Let's focus on the other sides, on the other variables. People, scope of project. I told you we have 7 regions to deliver, right? One of the negotiations that I've done with the business was, can we actually create one region, learn the lessons, and see how that works, and then we actually move to the next of the regions? We can see if that's, maybe we can automate some steps and even create those rest of regions even faster. Usually, negotiating on the scope of project is pretty easy, but it just needs you to put on the hat for communicators and talk to the business. Instead of putting the headphone and sitting on the desk, go and talk to the business. That's what we expect from lead engineers. People. As I mentioned, we didn't have so many people in the team. But what I've actually communicated with the business was getting some funds for contractors, getting some funds for actually getting people from my neighbor teams. We had so many teams in Atlassian. Some of them maybe can help me. So I actually asked business to go and negotiate with other engineering managers, and we kind of succeed to get 3 people joining my team. And they were pretty amazing and onboarded quickly. That's another negotiation we can do. I'm sure many of you heard about incremental delivery and the concept of epics in Agile. But this is really, truly important. When I joined the team, as I mentioned, there was a big backlog of work, and every day there was another story adding to the backlog. The backlog seems to be creeping every day. And I wasn't really sure what is the point of all these stories. Going with the small delivery, breaking down the project into the small pieces, and we actually took 2 weeks. I know that the time was tough, and everyone told me, we don't have time. But we actually got 2 weeks to go through the backlog, clean up everything, break down the big project into a small epics. Then we could see the dependency between epics. We could see what epic is important and essential, and which one we can actually de-scope. So maybe you're in rush to implement the project, but please take some time, do the reflection, and make sure that you actually have structure and organized backlog around you. Once you do that, you actually can see the progress of all the epics. You have multiple reports that you can use. Each of them shows the remaining work for each epic and the leftover work for each epic. So you can actually see which epic is in danger of delivery, which epic is on track, and then shift your focus when it's needed. Also, each epic obviously has an objective and goal, so you're clear why you are doing this epic. And when it's needed, you can de-scope it. I'm pretty sure you all do their agile rituals, and I'm not going to talk about it. Probably you all talk about, you all, like having the stand-up, the retro sessions, maybe a sprint planning, grooming sessions, all these rituals. But I want to share one point with you, as I said, a small refinement, to make sure that your rituals are effective and they're not waste of time. And that's about the sprint goal. Usually, teams don't care about the sprint goal. They bring some stories, they deliver the stories, and they're happy that we succeed. This is, to me, not a success. We need to have sprint goals for each sprint and only bring the stories which are aligned with those goals. It's hard in the beginning because everyone thinks, what can I set for the goal? But the more you practice, the more you're able to set some goals for your team, each sprint. In the middle of the sprint, we actually measure if we achieve our sprint goals or if we not. And if not, then we change our way and set up for the sprint. Another point about the rituals is a sprint review. Usually people just look at the stories and say, yes, it's done. And if someone asks you, are you on track, you feel probably, I don't know, but my gut feeling says yes, kind of, roughly. We want to get rid of these answers, and we want to stick to the metrics. The more you are able to use metrics, reports, and data, the more you will be a great lead engineer. What kind of metrics I'm talking about? Let's talk about Jira, for example. And I'm sure you have it in GitHub, DevOps, whatever you use for your backlog delivery. This one, for example. We call it velocity chart. So by looking at the velocity chart, you look at what you are committed in initially and what you completed at the end of the sprint. If it's over 80%, you're doing a great job. If it's below, and it happens quite a lot of sprints, often, then you are in trouble. You have to look at why, going through the root cause, and understand what is the problem with your team that you cannot deliver your sprint goals. This one. This is the great overview for the sprint progress. I actually do it every day, look at the sprint and see how many stories are left, what is the progress of my team, and if I see a great danger, I actually talk to my tech leads. This one is interesting as well. Usually, some of the stories which are complicated and big, they keep rolling over to the next sprint without proper visibility. Using this filter, Jira report, you actually can see all the stories that they keep happening into the keep rolling up into the next sprints. And you can figure out why this story is not being able to be closed. So you can figure out the blockers. Dependency mapper. Tell me, how many times, how often it happened to you that you bring a story to the sprint, and then in the middle of the sprint you realize that this wasn't the right choice. This has dependency on other tickets, and I'm actually blocked, and I have to pause and park the ticket. It happens a lot, to me at least. Using this Jira dependency mapper, we could see all the dependencies between tickets, and when we bring a story to the sprint, we know that there is no dependency for this ticket. This is another report you can use. There are so many other reports looking at your PR cycle, looking at, do you have a big PRs? Is your PRs going beyond the story requirements? There are so many metrics that you can use as a lead engineer. The last part, which is not least, having a healthy team and inclusive team. The point is, it's easy to deliver projects by breaking the team and making everyone burn out. It's easy to micromanage people. It's easy to, put everyone on coffee and having an unhealthy team, but delivering the project. This is not the case. The art of being a good leader is actually delivering the project while you are keeping your team healthy and happy. We want to have a sustainable team for long term. We don't want to deliver one project and then the whole team is going away. What I did with my team was actually setting the motto for my team. We win together, we lose together. I don't care about having shiny engineers, celebrities in the team. It's amazing to have heroes, but it's not the whole point. We need to make sure that everyone are included in the team, everyone are included and getting recognized as part of the project delivery. We want to make sure that, next slide. We want to make sure that everyone in the team have psychological safety, which means that I have no one in the team working on one project on their own. Everyone should be in a team at least 2 people, because they need support, they need pair up, they need mentorship, they need technical, like shadowing. So everyone should have enough support in the team to make sure that they're not stressed, and if they have a blocker, they can communicate with someone. Also, do you remember we talked about the epics? This is another benefit of having the epics. When you have a smaller piece of delivery phases, you can actually celebrate your success, your small success. Have you heard about project fatigue? When a project is happening for years and you don't feel any accomplishment, you don't feel you're on track, you don't feel you deliver anything, and you are getting burned out every day. We want to avoid this. And celebrating a small success is the way. After each epic, we actually go together, celebrate our success, and tick one box that we are actually getting one step closer to our delivery. And this way, people have chance to socialize and make sure that they know each other, especially with the remote teams, if you have it. During the project delivery, we never stopped providing feedback for each other, or the project actually is a growth opportunity for my team. It's not that you are in trouble until you deliver things, you are not getting into any success. It's part of your journey, it's part of the challenge that you're taking. 6 months after my team was screaming that we cannot deliver the project. After 6 months, the project was delivered 2 weeks ahead of a schedule. And all the business was quite surprised that how that happened. They had a lot of recognition from the business and from the company. The team had an amazing credit from the business. And we spent maybe 2 days making everyone using their recharge time. They take off and they go and they went and take some time off and holiday. We came back, and we had a lot of parties. This is Sydney. This is the Harbour Bridge. We actually went on the boat with the whole team. So far, all the images were AI, and this one is actually my actual team photo. So they were happy, celebrating their success, and really feeling accomplished. As I mentioned before, it's easy to drive a project and break the team. We don't want that. At Atlassian, we had monthly surveys for each team to ask how they are feeling. Are they happy? Are they healthy? So this is the survey that we actually send every month to the developers. And you can see just in the middle of project delivery, at the peak, their satisfaction was above 90%. So they are happy staying around, and we have a sustainable, healthy team while delivering the projects. I want to take, again, another moment. Please look at your phones, and I want you to tell me one point that you feel you can potentially bring to your team and make the projects probably going smoother. Take a moment to reflect. Celebrating a small success, perfect. Vacations after Epic is pretty important. Ownership and metrics. Again, celebrating a small success, epics, better ownership. Checkups, yeah, monthly, weekly, quarterly. Better project organization, and provide metrics, insightful metrics. That's exactly what I love to hear from you guys. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference today. See you.